Next up
But
on the Straight Up RnD
man,
Podcast.
like it seems like what it makes me think is that if he's talking like that, they were definitely inside the room, like going full blast. Like there's no way. There's no way. It must have been a crazy, passionate conversation. And they were just going at it, just saying whatever the hell they want to say. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, no, you're right. If you manage to slip up like that,
He said it twice.
like it wasn't a big deal. No, you're right, bro. Like that was really racist. That was just out of hand, not acceptable. And then, like, you know, we're in the middle of a tariff war, trade war with China. I don't think you should say things like that to escalate it. Now, what if, you know, they come back like, oh, what? And then they increase the tariff again, and now Trump got to go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think you should.
But that's the thing. I don't think Trump would hesitate to increase it again, though.
No, he wouldn't. And I'm saying he wouldn't. That's what I'm like, now he would have to. Trump was like, all right, whatever. That's what I'm like, I just don't think you should say that while, you know, we're in negotiations with China and stuff. It just came off as lame to me. I was like, come on, JD. And that's the thing. Like, I said this about JD before when the whole Zelensky thing happened on TV when they were him and Trump bullying Zelensky. JD is not usually, unless I haven't watched him or paid attention to him throughout the years, because he's always been in the spotlight, but I didn't get to know him until Trump made him the VP. Mm-hmm. He's usually cool, calm, and collected. Like, you look at his speeches, he's the opposite of Trump most days. Trump come on the mic, it's like, oh boy, you know, buckle your seatbelts. Like, you don't know what's gonna come out of this man now.
Yo. What's good, everybody? Coming back again with another episode of the Straight Up RnD Podcast.
Another episode, man. Straight content.
It's like never ending to a certain extent. I'm Rich.
I'm deep.
And on this podcast, we keep it a real, raw, uncut, straight up with opinions based on facts. And the number one rule on this podcast, if you don't understand by now, 55 episodes in, we don't give a fuck about your feelings.
But we love the support.
Yes, we do.
You know, keep engaging on the videos. We love the engagement. Keep commenting. And I'm going to say it again. We say it almost every episode. If you want to come on the pod, speak your mind.
Speak your mind.
No
judgment zone. No judgment zone. You know? I know a lot of people have a lot of shit to say about what we're saying, but like nobody want to come on. But man, I mean, keep quiet then. Yeah. But anyway, breaking news. I mean, damn, every week is like breaking news. But the episode is just gonna be called Tariffs. Like,
that's the word of the year.
That's just it. Like every week is something. So basically, Trump just implemented what is now 124%. Like, that's insane. That's insane.
And you got Mr. Wonderful. I can't remember his I can't remember his real name. He was like, that's not enough. He was like,
I know what you're talking about. He's on Shark Tank?
Yeah, he's on Shark Tank. And he was like, he wants Trump to impose 400% tariffs on China.
Kevin O'Leary.
He hates China. Yo, he like 400%. I remember during the campaign season, he was advocating for 600%. He just want to lay it down
on that. Damn, man. Like, yeah, so we're literally going through a tariff war right now, and now we're actually starting to see what the play Trump is doing now. You know, he's saying, oh, all these countries are coming up to the U.S. and they're willing to negotiate and, you know, get to the table. So he extended the tariffs for the rest of the world by 90 days, except China, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Bro, last episode, we were talking about the tariffs. You know, me and you was just discussing like how long you think the tariffs might stay on. You were like, end of the year. I was like, hopefully the summer. It's a couple days.
Like after just saying that was just like, nope, you're wrong. Like, yeah. So an extra 90 days to make deals for everyone else. And they were like, they talked about the notable ones like Japan and Europe coming up, and as that's expected because, they don't want to lose out. But yeah, the Chinese yuan, the value dropped by 7 points or 7%, whichever. But like, it's like, damn, this is an economic war. This is what we're in right now.
Yeah.
And, even in the previous administration, the Biden administration, and even the Obama administration, they always said China is like the threat. They've all said it, and no one has really done anything against them.
Because, like, it takes a lot because it's a high risk, high reward type of situation. And Trump is literally the only president to try to do something about it. But I can understand why previous administrations, they were like, let's not attack it because what if it doesn't work? And we said it on the last episode, like, this has to work.
Looks like it might be working. I don't know.
It looked like things are going well now. And, I get why some people are like, hey, does Trump know what he's doing? Because, bro, sometimes if anybody predicted this, you're wrong. There was no way we predicted how this was going to go. And, like, I guess I could see, like, why he paused it. Because, like, all right, people went to negotiate. A lot of the countries didn't retaliate. I think the only two countries that retaliated was China and Canada. Canada might get in line to, they're going through an election and stuff. And
no, their main prime minister or whoever it is elected.
Like, fully elected. Because I know when Trudeau stepped down, the other guy came in. But I don't know if he's like the official prime minister as of yet.
Well, we know who won. I know there's a guy that won. I don't remember his name. I could drop that. I'll look it up in a second.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I just remember
he won, and he was the nominee. So I don't know. I know there's a transition period.
Okay.
Again, I don't know too much about Canada politics. I'll be straight up. I don't know too much about it, but I did when the initial war was going on with Canada and the U.S. over the tariffs. Their nominee or the person that ended up winning the election was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna be hard on Trump and this, that, and the third, and blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
But I don't know where that is right now because the main topic of the day is China. Like,
yeah,
they're the ones. Like, I think the U.S. accounts for like 36% of the world's GDP. Like, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a big cut. But yeah, I don't know. Like, no, like you said, nobody could have predicted this to happening. Like, the stock market shot up. That shot up and then it went back down. I'm like, yo, people making money at this time. Yo. People making money. But I don't know. What do you think is gonna happen after the 90 days?
Bro, I don't know. Like, and that's the thing is, like, everything we discussed or I thought predicted just hasn't been true because I don't know what this administration plan is. Like, this could have been planned, but we just don't know. So I'm like, all right, well, say for instance if they make trade deals with all the other countries, will he still implement the tariffs? Like, if deals are cut within the 3 months, well, he'll be like, all right, hey, you're good. I'm not going to implement tariffs on y'all. And then if he's not able to reach a deal with some countries within 90 days, will he just put the tariffs back on them? Like, I don't know what, I just don't know, bro. I mean,
that's the same thought that I had. Like, I think after the 90 days, if there's no deal, then you're going back to the original tariff that was proposed in the beginning.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
So I think that's the purpose. And 90 days is a lot of time to come up with something that's going to be like solid.
Yeah, and according to the White House, over 70 countries have hit Trump up to begin negotiations. Some are flying out. They have scheduled visits, come to the White House to get a deal done. And Yeah, there's all the countries that did not retaliate. That is like, all right, look, give us some time. Let's get a deal done, and we'll try to see what happens. But I think this is all just a play to like group up against China. Like China is like the final boss.
No, you're right.
China is the final boss. The plan has always been to take down China, I guess.
No, and you're right, because it's like over time and time again, we see how advanced China becoming. You know, we will invent something and then they make something cheaper. Like they always make it cheaper and is able to capitalize on it, and people always go with the cheapest option.
Right.
Obviously, but you know, it's really putting China on their heels right now.
Yeah, and a deal has to get done at some point. Now, how long do you think this back and forth with China going to go?
That's interesting because I know China's at the drawing board right now to see what they're gonna do. If they're gonna throw back tariffs, more tariffs on the U.S. Because for them, it's like if they throw tariffs on the U.S., I don't think it really does that much damage to the U.S. because apparently Karen O'Leary was saying, hey, you know, they copy our stuff. You know, going to court with them is impossible because, you know, their regulations and their laws. So the U.S. companies out there is already losing, you know, and our market is not even big out there. Mm-hmm. So it's like if they place tariffs on American goods coming into China, you're not really doing much. You see what I'm saying? Because it hurts them more because they export so much stuff over here.
Yeah, we get a lot from China.
So in the end, they're kind of at a disadvantage. But in a sense, it's like the only advantage that they do have is we rely on them.
Yeah. And that's the problem, too.
And that is a problem.
Because God forbid something happens, we can't make much. We can't make anything. China could say, oh, screw the U.S. We're not doing that. How are we going to survive? That's why it's a national security
IKEA
problem.
right there, yo.
Yeah, no, for real.
That's IKEA.
That's why they said this is actually a national security problem because we can't make anything. Like the essential stuff we don't make here.
And that's why he's trying to bring more manufacturing jobs here so we can be self-sustained to an extent, you know, like not 100%, but, you know, maybe hopefully like 60, 70% or something like that, just throwing numbers out. But, you know, it like, I always say, like, again, it may sound like, oh, I'm like a Trump supporter and I'm like, it's making sense. Like, it's not like, oh, we just want to create problems with countries just to create problems. It's
all to benefit us.
Yeah, it's all to benefit us in the case of an emergency. What if we end up in a war? Then what? You see what I'm saying? Like, what if China and U.S. literally get in a war? Then we're screwed.
We're screwed. Even go back to COVID, the vaccines and the medical equipment. That wasn't made here.
Yes, that was not.
That was not made here.
All the masks and the ventilators and all that stuff they had to buy from all these countries, and more China was like, we got it. And they're the ones that had the issue with the virus to begin with. You know, it's just like.
So it's like there are examples of like how we can become screwed if we don't step our game up. So now, but my only thing is, my critique with this is though, it's like, all right, you bring jobs back, but like, what kind of jobs? You know what I mean? Like with automation and AI being the future, like what kind of jobs are going to be coming to the U.S.? And then how expensive it is going to be for companies to invest into the U.S. And you know, with a lot of regulations we have here to build manufacturing factories. So it's like, there's a lot of questions I do have, like, you know, if this works and come about. So that's what I'm thinking. And plus, you know, again, this takes time. You're going to need administrations in the future to be on board with this also. This is not just a Trump term thing. Mm-hmm. whoever's president next has to be doing the same thing for investments to be continuing coming to the U.S. So those are kind of like my, I guess, red flags in a way of like, all right, I can understand bringing jobs back. What jobs?
I say I would assume the jobs that they're gonna bring back again are the manufacturing ones, the more jobs in like science and biotech, pharmaceuticals. Because you think of big pharma, there a lot of those pharmaceutical companies are overseas.
Yeah.
And those scientists or doctors are all working overseas, and those labs, those humongous labs that they have, are overseas. So if you bring that here, that may, influence Americans to, maybe stop getting liberal arts degrees and
see,
go into bio.
And that's another problem I have too. Like, people waste money in these useless ass degrees, liberal arts, I don't know, gender studies, stuff that wouldn't be applicable to the jobs that you just stated. Mm-hmm. So it's like we would have to do a shift in our education system, because as we saw today, China is invested in their children to study AI as soon as 6 years old.
Yeah.
And that's a smart move because that's helpful for their economy. So what are we going to do here to make sure people are properly trained for these jobs and can do it? It's one thing to bring the jobs here, but shit, if you can't find somebody to do it, not saying we can't, but people going to have to start saying all right, ban these degrees, go to STEM. You know what I mean? Get a STEM degree. And then, again, hopefully that will...
I think it's the need to encourage it more, because I remember when I was in school, STEM is a lot of people didn't understand it, didn't know what it was.
Same here.
Was what is that? Or at the time it was too late, or you know what I mean? I think now they should really push that on all the public schools, give the funding for that. And again, there's still controversy with that too, because Trump said he's not giving grants to certain schools that's doing certain things.
Exactly.
Right? So it's a lot of layers to it. And, you were talking about what about the jobs that's going to be coming back? This administration and the next one, or whether it's Democrat or Republican, they have to work on removing a lot of that red tape that makes it hard for people to start a business or get employees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And not only that, they need to do that for the automotive industry and for banks. Opening a bank is good. I think we only have about maybe 10,000 banks here, versus other countries, they have about 20,000 banks. And banks is what allows people to get loans to start a small business or invest, or you know what I mean? So those are the things that the U.S. needs to work on to encourage, more businesses to be out here and more, obviously borrowing, and maybe that helps the interest rates. There's
right.
more money going around, it doesn't have to be as high, but it's a lot of layers to it.
That's what I'm saying. This is going to take time. So that's why I'm if it's going in a positive trajectory, and then, he only has 4 years, whoever is next have to keep building on it. Now, with the way the left and the right are attacking each other these days, if we get a next Democratic president, there's a risk of this saying, you know what, I'm just going to do everything Trump did because of whatever reason.
I think if we have, not to cut you, but if we have a Democratic administration next, I don't think they're going to touch any of the tariffs or any of that. Because I think most Democrats that have been presidents don't know anything about business. I think they're more on the policy, laws, and stuff like that, which is fine. But when it comes to the business part of things, I don't think they know too much about it. So I don't think they will touch it.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll touch it if it's proved that it's working. By the end of his administration, and it proves it's working, and is great for Americans. I don't think they would touch it. But I mean, I just still don't know. Like, we just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. Don't know.
So that's why I said this is Trump. If it goes well, he will get credit for like starting the process. But whoever's after him have to keep continuing this. But that's another red flag that hit in my head. I'm like, we'll see. Now, I'm hoping and this is the thing. If you live in America, no matter if you're left or right, you should be rooting for this to work. You should be hoping Trump accomplishes what he wants to accomplish because it betters all of us. Mm-hmm. Now, when I see people saying like, oh, I'm rooting for China and Mexico, I'm like, you're an American. At the end of the day, we're all Americans, no matter what side you represent. So that's why, bro, I really hate the media because I feel like they push this divide and just people who just, I don't know, dumb or stupid, can't think for themselves. It gets into their brains and they just like, hey, you know what? Well, we're gonna rep this side. We gonna rep this side, and we just
like sheep.
Yeah, just like sheep, and that's why people say Democrats hate America because you should want this to work. Now you could criticize Trump, and I think it's fine if you criticize the administration. Doesn't mean
yeah, definitely 100%.
You could criticize him too,
but don't forget you're American.
Exactly, and then maybe you could even offer some guidance like, hey, I don't agree with what he's doing. I get why he's doing it. Maybe you could offer, some other ways of like, hey, this is how you would do it to bring the jobs back. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't root against this. Mm-hmm. Again, election's over. It is what it is.
He won already. Like
with the shit going on in America, you think election season's still around. Like, Kamala's done. She there getting paid for speeches at I don't even know where she at now. But I see her doing speeches, probably getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and shit. She chilling. Mm-hmm. I don't know what she's going to do next. But
she's trying to run again. I'm telling you, she's going to be on the ballot. She's going to be there. But what was I going to say? It's what you were explaining before is too much of an intellectual conversation to have with a lot of the normal Democrats or liberals. I should say liberals. I'm not going to say Democrats because it's like if you try to have a conversation with them to say, hey, look, you may not agree with all of the stuff that he's doing, but if he's like, hey, man, this is actually good for the economy, you should want that to happen if it's in the best interest of the U.S.
That's all I'm saying. All I am saying is just let's hope for the best. This is the time to unite. And, I don't really pay attention to other countries' politics that much, but I wonder, like, the way we act with this left versus right side, or other countries like this too. I know there's always a side, but, like, does it get radical to this point?
It does. It does. I've seen protests and people, like for instance, Venezuela, like they don't like their leader out there and people try to protest, but he puts out the military to kind of control people or,
let me say it like this. I can understand if you don't like the current administration in your country because, like, all right, we gave it a shot. It's just not going well. Like how with Mayor Adams. People loved him in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Now people are turning against him. Like, all right, you're just a bad mayor. But I'm talking about from the moment this man took office, inauguration day, protests was happening. And it just seemed like a certain group of people not even giving him the chance to see what happens.
Yeah, because you got to remember how what's the word? Like his first term was such a spectacle. It was just like people were like, whoa, how did this guy that, essayed people and did all this stuff and he's racist and this and that and the third and he's with the KKK and this, that, and stuff. How did he become president? And you got that type of hate towards people. And then some of the policies that he made, which was very controversial with like Talking about what was one of the big things that he did his last term in the beginning of the COVID, calling it the virus. What do you call it?
The China virus.
Yeah, he called it the China virus, and telling people to drink bleach and this, that, and the third. Like, he did a lot of controversial stuff that people were like, yo, he can't be president again. And they kind of hated him with a passion, So now that he won again, it put it times 10, especially when during his first term, he was building a wall and people were like, oh, why are you going to do that? That's so messed up. Because at that time, nobody was really getting hit with the immigrants. It wasn't that bad.
That big of a problem like how it was the previous 4 years.
Again, being at that level, you see the numbers. They have the data, they have all the info, and he's talking like that, and people are against it. And then now under Biden, it gets really bad. It's semantics. It's just like 1 minute it's fine, next minute it's not. It's like it's hard to kind of gauge a balance in between. But now you throw Elon and Doge and all of that stuff. It's like all these things is just stack on top and make people angry.
Yeah, I know. I guess, and look, I can understand if you disagree with administrators. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just putting it the way how I would act. I just don't see the point. We said this in the last episode. I just don't see the point of burning shit down, vandalizing people's cars. Ridiculous. And like there's several videos of people hitting each other. Like there was a video in New York City of a man minding his business. He had a MAGA hat on, and a woman realized it, started cursing at him, and just punched him in the face. And I'm just like, bro, like it's just not that deep. I don't know. That's just how I think about it. I'm just like, yo, whoever the president is, give him or her a chance and see what happens. Instead of just starting to burn shit down.
So I gotta ask you, what did Biden do under his administration that you can say was a good thing?
Was a good thing? Yeah. I mean, shoot. As if you think he was running the country. We talked about last episode. Before the first debate, he was already, in question if he was even running the country. But trying to think, man. Well, he did put a cap on insulin. I think that's great to help the middle class. I'm really trying to think here. What else did he do? I gotta think. Well, you answer it, bro. Let me think.
Damn. Well, he did give empty promises with the student loan situation. Like student loan that. Situation. I mean, at least he kept that around. I thought they should have at least extended the pause since they didn't have an actual plan. But the insulin thing, that was a good thing as well. His attempt, and I'll give him some credit, his attempt to install more electric vehicle chargers, although, like we mentioned in the last episode, that he didn't, or there was no real standard for it. But the fact that you can, put that on the table to say, yeah, we should expand our EV electric car charging infrastructure. That's something that I thought would have been a good deal if they actually got it done. Which would help.
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
That would have helped, but again, it kind of fell to the wayside. But other than that, I mean, there was just a lot more I was not happy with. And when I compare that to this administration, cutting the government waste, I'm cool with that. certain things, being on equal levels with the tariffs against China, making a deal. I'm good with that. Mm-hmm. But it does come at a cost with the stock market.
At a cost.
But it's like, everything can't be peachy all the time.
Yeah, brief intermission.
Brief, very brief intermission. But I guess one of the main questions was probably like, is there that much conflict between parties in other countries?
And like you were saying, there are protests. I know there are protests because I was like, like in New York, everybody vote for a mayor or a governor. In the beginning, everybody, I guess, loved Mayor Adams in the beginning. I mean, there was criticism on him early on, but it's not like now. Now everybody like, yo, get him the hell up out of here. So it's like you play the wait and see game. But you're right. I can understand with Trump with his first term, he is just, again, I said this on our previous episodes, he is not a politician. He was saying, he did say some divisive things, and people are like, oh, we don't want that. But again, I'm just like, listen, y'all. Let's see how it rides out. Let's see how it plays out. And then that's just that. Because I just keep coming from the standpoint where American, that's just how I'm thinking, like, we are American. We should want this administration to succeed. You shouldn't want it to fail. Because we're locked in 4 years. That's it. We're locked in for 4 years. So that's just my main point. I don't know. Like I said, I don't really pay attention to other countries and their politics. I just wonder if it does it get this bad how we are now in other countries.
You see, because that's the thing. Like, under Biden, like I was never rooting for him to fail. I did criticize some of his decisions that he made. That's for sure. And I do the same thing with Trump too. But it's like, I would never want to see this country fall because I live here.
Exactly.
And what the hell is going to happen if it does? I don't want to find out. You know what I mean?
Don't want to find out.
But, yeah, I mean, like we've been saying, these tariffs, it's kind of hard to predict what the heck tomorrow is going to bring. Nobody knows. Maybe China's trying to form an alliance with everyone else, trying to do it back to say, hey, if you make a deal with the U.S., I'm going to increase your tariffs.
Oh, that's a good point.
Who knows? That could be, a countermeasure.
Man, it's about to get real interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, and sometimes I wonder if some of the countries are just putting on a bluff publicly, but then they go behind the scenes like, all right, let's actually try to figure this out. I mean, I don't know.
I think that's Canada.
For real, that's why I was literally about to say Canada. But even Europe too, you see like how she was talking before, and now it's like, hey, you propose 0% for tariff. It's like, and then like, and I get it though. It's like, if you're if you're a leader for your country, you don't want your citizens to see that you're soft and you're bending over.
Right.
They want to see some type of fight. So, of course, you're probably going to talk tough in front of the mic. And not saying you're not being tough behind the closed doors, but you probably like, all right, you have a calmer head. It's like, all right, let's think strategically and how we can work together. That's how I'm thinking. And even sometimes I think like that with Trump. I don't know. Man, I'm like, maybe he's just saying some wild shit to the public. And then, when the cameras start off, maybe he's a lot calmer. I don't know. I really don't know. At least maybe that's what I'm hoping. Like everybody just talking tough, and then
I don't know. I would say he is just to get the make a spectacle out of it, so to get people talking about it. But then behind closed doors is different. But when they had that situation with Ukraine, that was no bluff. And what's interesting is we don't even hear anything about that.
That's a fact too. Like what's
what
going on there?
What ended up happening with that deal? Like, what happened?
Because now everybody's focused on the tariffs. Now it's like, all right, Ukraine to the side. Like, I think that just out of nowhere, maybe they're going to announce a deal with that. Like, I don't know.
What's up with Russia and all that other stuff? Like, all of that just kind of died down and nobody heard anything.
Yeah, because once the tariffs were announced, then that just become.
I guess that's priority
Yeah.
over the war. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But your boy JD, man, like what's up? What's up with him?
JD definitely been hanging around Trump too much.
Damn.
Definitely been hanging around Trump too much. But
So this is what JD Vance was saying. I'm not even gonna say it because I'm not trying to offend anybody at this point. I'm not trying to do that. I'll drop the video link in the description. But he said some very strong words towards the Chinese people, which again I don't agree with. Those are some real,
neither do I.
Some real racist words right there. Like you can't talk like that, But I will link that in the description, and you guys can go ahead and see it, or you can just Google it and you'll find out what he said. CNN covered it. I'm sure a lot of other places covered it, except Fox. Except Fox. But yeah.
Well, Fox went at the interview.
They were. I was watching it through CNN. Yeah. I was watching it through CNN. And they covered up the Fox logo.
Yeah, because I recognize that guy who interviewed him. I know he's on Fox. So Fox did an interview. And I know some of them probably in the background like, oh, my God.
Yeah, like this guy. But, man, like, it seems like what it makes me think is that if he's talking like that, they were definitely inside the room, like, going full blast. Like, there's no way. There's no way. It must have been a crazy, passionate conversation. And they were just going at it, just saying whatever the hell they want to say. There's no way. Yeah. There's no way.
Yeah, no, you're right. If you manage to slip up like that.
He said it twice.
Like, it wasn't a big deal. No, you're right, bro. Like, that was really racist. That was just out of hand, not acceptable. And then, like, we're in the middle of a tariff war, trade war with China. I don't think you should say things like that to escalate it. Now, what if, they come back like, oh, what? And then they increase the tariff again, and now Trump got to go back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think you should.
But that's the thing. I don't think Trump would hesitate to increase it again, though.
No, he wouldn't. And I'm saying he wouldn't. That's what I'm like, now he would have to. Trump was like, all right, whatever. That's what I'm like, I just don't think you should say that while, we're in negotiations with China and stuff. It just came off as lame to me. I was like, come on, JD. And that's the thing, like, I said this about JD before when the whole Zelensky thing happened on TV, when they were him and Trump bullying Zelensky. JD is not usually, unless I haven't watched him or paid attention to him throughout the years, because he's always been in the spotlight, but I didn't get to know him until Trump made him the VP. Mm-hmm. He's usually cool, calm, and collected. Like, you look at his speeches, he's the opposite of Trump most days. Trump come on the mic, it's like, oh boy, buckle your seatbelts. Like, you don't know what's gonna come out of this man mouth.
You don't.
But when JD comes on the mic, you can expect it to be,
a little bit more tame.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, that's why I say hanging around Trump too much, because now he's just starting to say some shit like, bro, like, what's going on? So that's why, like, he's, I don't know, getting a little unhinged a little bit.
I think that's who he was.
That's just who he was.
Because you think about it, right? You run for president. He's never been at that level before, right? And you're gonna display like some presidential, speak great. You're gonna enunciate your words properly. You're gonna have clear thoughts on what you're trying to convey. And I think now that he's in, even the situation with the Zelensky thing, when he just started, he's the one that escalated the whole argument.
Yeah, he escalated. Like, Zelensky said something, but JD escalated
it.
Yeah.
He
right.
escalated it. So now he's probably like, yeah, I'm already here. I'm backing this guy.
He feeling himself.
Like, yo, he's like, I got power too. I got say too. you know? And rightfully so, you're VP.
Exactly.
So now I think, what can you tell him? What can you tell him? You can't take away the election. He's already there.
He's there.
What does he care what you think? You know, he's going to say what he wants to say.
Well, I mean, he should still be careful a bit because I'm like, if he plans to run for president, he's going to have to start the process all over. You know what I mean?
But
like,
again, but you have to see, he's probably believing that what Trump is doing is going to work. Because they're in the background. They know more stuff than what we know.
Yeah.
They in the background, they're like, there's no way this is going to fail. Or like, there's no way China's not going to reduce their tariffs on us or whatever. You know? He's probably pretty damn confident. So he can say stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because again, if the world is coming back to the U.S., because they know the United States, we consume. We spend money. You got people spending money on Fortnite skins and video games that's like garbage and like we $400,000 cars. Like we spend the money. We are the biggest market in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Every company wants to do business with us. And they know that in China, they can't do it because China is very strict.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's like, hey, we have the upper advantage. But...
Yeah, it's still not acceptable for it. Like,
it's still
it
unacceptable.
Be going well, but it's like, come on, JD.
It's
like,
still unacceptable. But he was feeling himself. Like
yeah, that's why I said he's feeling himself. He like, you know, he's next to Trump, and he see Trump saying some wild shit every other day. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna stick my toe in the wild shit too. And it's just, of course, it's backfiring. I mean, backfiring in a sense that's being reported everywhere. And it's just adding more fuel to the fire of people hating
But I
this
think it's now that it's early in his, presidency, people are gonna forget. And they're not gonna bring it up until re-election.
People are gonna forget if things go well. If things go well, people will forget. But if it doesn't go well, they're going to point back to moments like this.
Hey, shit, I'm going to point back too.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
It's like, see, this is one of the reasons why it didn't work. And
yeah, and if this situation with the tariffs don't work, this is a big thing to say, look, this guy Trump put us in this situation now. How can the next administration fix that? We know the Democrats ain't gonna fix it. We know that. They probably make it worse.
And that's the thing too. Like, I heard Charlemagne, the guy, say on Breakfast Club, he thinks even if it doesn't go well with Trump, he thinks the Democratic Party is just so messed up that a more tame Republican can still win. And be like, hey, it didn't work well with Trump, but elect me and I'll fix it. And I was like, if it really hits the wall with Trump, like how can people trust the Republican Party? But his belief is that, the Democratic Party is just so screwed up. Like there's no clear leader right now. Approval rating is down. Like nobody is really messing with it. That's why I said you can't really believe the media. The media would have you believe that
the world's going to end tomorrow.
You know what I mean? But if you talk to people on the street, nobody is messing with the Democrats. And the numbers show it. And even there's even like some statistics of people like how they feel about Trump is still positive. There's some people who are questioning what he's doing, and maybe some people like regret voting for him. I mean, he's gonna have that. I think he's gonna have that with any administration.
Yeah.
But I think there was still a positive swing for him. So that's why I'm like, the media will make you believe that everybody hates the country and hates Trump, but the numbers say otherwise. And then the party isn't even fighting with each other, though. Mm-hmm. So, like, the Democrats have a lot to figure out. And I want a strong Democratic Party because it keeps both sides honest.
Yeah, it kind of creates some balance.
You should want two strong parties. Like, I hope the Democrats fix themselves, but I just don't know how.
Look, I feel like they trying to do a Bernie and AOC run or something. Like, I don't know what it is, but AOC is too far left.
She's too far left.
You know, Bernie earlier when he was running during the Hillary Clinton time when she was running, like I would have voted for him.
Bro, I didn't know a single person that did not support Bernie.
That's what I'm saying. Like I would have voted for him, but he didn't make it through. You know, and I don't know how he would do in a debate against Trump, but because Trump would have found something. He would have found some skeleton or something. But like I would have voted for him. But now that he's teaming up with AOC, it's like, you know, it's not really my cup of tea. You know, he should probably distance himself from her and like find someone that's a little bit
because
more
he's
rational.
more moderate than her.
Yes,
he's more. Like, he's unless it's been other Democrats that I just not come to mind. He's actually said, "Oh, there are maybe one or two things he agree with what Trump is doing." Like he's trying to be moderate. He's heavily criticizing Trump, but if you would have asked him, like, "Hey, is there anything you think they're doing right?" He would say yes to one or two things. Any other Democrat that's that's speaking publicly, they would just think he's doing everything bad. Again, you could definitely criticize Trump, but I'm just saying. I think what America wants now, and the election show, they don't want too far of anything. They don't want anything that's too far left. Because they feel like that's where the country was going. They're like, all right, we're just way too far left now. And that's what led people to the Republican Party, which is why you see Gavin Newsom trying to change his tune, which is why you see people like Stephen, which is so crazy. I'm like, this is the future of politics. Stephen A. Smith.
I just saw something today. He was saying how he's highly considering running for president.
He's saying he's not closing the door. And like I saw some chart of them saying like he has a chance to win. He could go in the primary and he's saying he felt confident he would be it. And I'm like, bro, how we get here? Because like, everybody knows Stephen A. Smith is a,
sports analyst, podcaster now.
But he's doing his own thing on his show where he's talking politics.
And he made a good deal with Disney or whoever that contract was. I think he got a pretty big bag. Let's say that.
He got a big bag. I don't know how many years it's for. But maybe he'll be at the end of that contract when it's time to possibly run for president. I don't know. So he has options. But yeah, you look at his show. I watch his show. He have people like Mayor Adams there. He had Governor Cuomo. He had Candace Owens, Ben Shapiro. He had people from both sides, and it's great. I love it.
Yeah, he's showing he's balanced in a sense. Not, I'm only doing the left. I'm only doing the right. But that's kind of what this country needs. Someone that's balanced. Someone that can say, look, we are doing what's better, or I'm doing what's better for the country and for the citizens at the same time. Because, again, a lot of the stuff that Trump is saying is like, oh, well, figure it out on your own type of deal. Like, you took out that loan, you better pay for it yourself. Or, you know what I mean? Like, oh, cut you off for this, cut you off for that. But, yes, in the grand scheme of things, is it on a whole better for the country? Yes. But for the individual, no. You know what I'm saying?
You need somebody that can like do both. Right. And that is literally what's been missing for the past 12 years in this country. So, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy, bro.
If he runs, it'll be interesting to see how he debates.
And for real. And I think Trump winning, bro, it just opened up a Pandora's box. And I'm like, are we ready for that? Where anybody feel like they could be president now? Like, it was really a space just for politicians. If that's where you chose to go in, you want to be in public office. But now Trump won.
Shook up the whole thing.
It shook up the whole thing. Now you got rumors of Mark Cuban possibly running. He said no.
He's definitely, I wouldn't.
He said no.
I would not vote for that
But
guy.
There was a graph on Stephen A. Smith's show that's like, hey, for VP, he has a chance to be VP. He said, I won't. And Mark Cuban said he won't be second fiddle. But I'm just saying he's being considered for some type of position with no political experience. So that's why I'm like, and maybe that's a good thing to hear like a different voice. Because you just want, I guess you just want the best person for the job. But it's just like, You know, I just don't want to get too out of control. You just got somebody like, hey, I'll be president now too. Like,
and that's the crazy thing is like, is presidencies going to be run by popularity now?
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
Some TikToker is going to be a president. Like, who knows? Like that literally, because look, if you look past it, our generation, you know, some of our generation's on TikTok, but the generation after us, they all on TikTok. And generation after them, they all on TikTok too. So if, I don't know, Mr. Beast come out and talk about he gonna run for president, he might win. Who knows? Who knows? This guy could possibly win if he announced that, and all his followers and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking like, how can Stephen A. adjust from talking sports to possibly be the head of this country? Like, I just don't know how that transition is. Like, at least with Trump, you know, he has experience running, you know, these global companies. So in a way, you could say like, all right, he's talked to world leaders in some way. Like, he's been into like international. Like, I don't know all of Stephen A.'s business, but how you going to adjust from being a sports analyst, ESPN First Take, you know, if you have your show on YouTube, to now just being the head of this country? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Listen, I ain't hating on the dude. Like, I think he's great. I love his show, but of course, you just got a question like, hey, can you make that? That's a humongous jump. Mm-hmm. That's a humongous jump.
But you got to think about it too. Like when you're saying Stephen A. transitioning into politics and then possibly running and becoming president, because it's a chance. I mean, to me, it doesn't really surprise me too much because Reagan was also like in Hollywood and he was like an actor. So it's like imagine Tom Cruise becoming president. You know?
But Reagan, he was known as a great communicator. That's why everybody say like he just knew like how to communicate to the people, and that's made him win. Can Stephen A. do something like that?
And I think what really got Stephen A. into this is in the NBA, there was a lot of like political stuff going on, like Udoka, the Celtics coach. You know, there was like some politics in there that kind of changed certain things, and you know, even within the game, there's politics between the NBA and players that, you know, when he gives his opinion, you kind of say, are you, like, your political affiliation kind of sounds more conservative. It kind of sounds like, you know, you're more on a conservative end. And especially with the COVID thing, when COVID happened and players weren't allowed to see their families or whatever, or take the vaccine, and, you know, New York players that opted out of the vaccine because New York was different from other states.
Oh yeah,
you know. He kind of, you know, slowly crept into politics little by little, and now that he got his own podcast, and maybe the deal was, yo, you can say whatever the hell you want to say, but just don't say that on First Take.
Which is respectable. Like, look, you're on a sports show, talk sports. What you do outside of your own time,
talk whatever you want to talk.
That's you. And if anybody remembers Stephen A. early on, like, he was really far left too. Like,
yeah,
he was saying everything was racist. He was known for saying, like, you know, black people don't get a chance in this country. This person didn't get opportunity because they're black. And I remember him saying, like, he believes every black person should vote Republican at least once, basically insinuating that if you're black, you're a part of that Democratic Party. So he's came a far way and matured politically a lot from those years. And I think that's commendable. I think, you know,
that shows growth.
You know? So, well, man, I can't wait. I just I can't wait to see what happens.
I don't know. The reason why I don't think he would run is because
I hope he do now. I want to see it.
I don't think he's ready for the dirty side of politics. Like, it gets messy. Like, his family's gonna get in the picture. His wife or whoever his kids are. I don't even know who his kids are. Like, he keeps his life private.
Private.
So somebody's gonna go and expose that. somebody. They're going to pay somebody off to get some information about him, and it's going to get exposed. Is he ready for that? I don't think so. I don't think so. Look what happened to Trump.
Bro, it's so crazy, man. Like
Biden's son. Like, all these things.
If Trump never ran for president, everybody would still love him.
Yeah, nobody would have known any of that stuff.
But you run for president? I mean, at least he won, but at what cost? Look at it. At what cost?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think when his term is over, I don't think he's going to be, like, forgotten. He seems like he's always going to be saying something.
No, he ain't going to be forgotten.
He's always going to be saying something.
He's going to be like whoever runs for president, you know, they'll probably like have him do a speech at, you know, their campaign, right? Like how Obama does now. You know what I mean? Like come and, you know, advocate
he's
for
going to be old, though.
He's going to be old. But if he still has that pull, they probably just have him talk for 10, 15 minutes. Or at least just have him there. Like, hey, there goes President Trump. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what's his plan for after this, but that's the only route I could see him going is just being involved in some way, just like how Obama pops out campaign season. You're going to see him, you know, going to campaign trial with whoever like he did with Kamala. That's the only thing I can see Trump doing afterwards. But yeah, man, like it's crazy time, and you know,
definitely is some crazy times that we're in, and hold on to your hold your horses, you know, because it's gonna be a wild ride in the next 90 days, even after that, when that term is up. What's gonna happen? Who the hell knows if we even get in a war? Like, I don't know.
Bro,
like, I literally don't know what the hell can happen next week.
Tomorrow. 10 minutes.
You know, like, I want to see, has China even done anything? Like, we have to actually check this stuff in real time sometimes, you know?
Yeah, like, we can stop recording something happened, just like how we stopped recording last time.
Yeah.
Boom. Pause on the tariff. Like, you just don't know, yo.
Dude,
that's why, like,
everything we just said was just invalidated. So
that's why I'm like, I'm not even want to try to predict that. I'm like, look, I'm just wait and see mode. I'm in wait and see mode. That's just it. Wait, see what happens, and then we come on the pod and discuss it. That's just it.
That is really just it. I mean, I'm scrolling down on Twitter right now. I don't really see anything crazy, but you know, who knows? Tomorrow might be 200%. You know, but yeah, I guess we'll put a wrap on that. We just trying to give you guys an update on what the hell is going on. We're just as lost as you guys, all right? Just as lost as you guys. But definitely like, comment, subscribe. Just want to say shout out to all the people that's been rocking with us, commenting, subscribing, and sharing the videos. We see you. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Keep it going. Look, we're an organic channel. You know, we're doing it from the ground up the right way. You know what I'm saying? We're giving you the real content. You know what I'm saying? We're not bullshitting y'all. And we popping these joints out weekly.
Yeah. We invested our own funds into this. We just, you know, kicking back, talking to y'all, and giving y'all our opinions on stuff.
Yeah. It's just that simple. It's not complicated.
Yeah.
It's really not complicated. But yeah, definitely like, comment, subscribe. I'm Rich. I'm signing out.
D signing out.
See you guys in the next one. Deuces.